Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate, you should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
Malcom X was born on May 19, 1925, in Omaha, Nebraska, as the fourth of the 7 children of his parents, Earl and Louise Little. His father was a local leader of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, or the UNIA. Due to the threats of the Ku Klux Klan, or the KKK, the family was forced to relocate to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, followed shortly afterward by a move to Lansing, Michigan. His father was killed by a streetcar when Malcom was 6 years old. The police declared that Earl Little, or his father, had slipped, but at the funeral, someone told one of the children that he had been pushed. With little money to their name, the Littles were forced to rent out part of their garden and live off the life insurance of his father. In 1938, Louise Little, Malcom X's mother, was admitted to Kalamazoo State Hospital for having a nervous breakdown. The children were separated and sent to foster homes. Malcom excelled in high school, but dropped out when a white teacher told him that practicing the law was no realistic goal for a nigger. Malcom moved to Harlem, New York in 1943, where he started drug dealing, gambling, robbing, and pimping. In late 1945, Malcom returned to Boston, where he committed a series of burglaries targeting rich white families. In 1946, he was finally arrested while picking up a stolen watch left for repairs, where he then began to serve his 8 to 10-year prison sentence in Charleston State Prison. It was there that he became an avid reader.
During Malcom's imprisonment, several of his siblings wrote to him about the Nation of Islam, a new religious movement preaching black self-reliance and the unity of African Americans free from white American and European domination. Influenced by the group's teaching, Malcom came to the conclusion that every relationship he'd had with whites had been tainted by dishonesty, injustice, greed, and hatred. In 1950, Malcom began signing his name Malcom X, explaining that the X symbolized the true African family name that he would never know. Gradually, Malcom landed the role of the leader's assistant due to his skill as a speaker and his impressive physical presence. He began preaching the group's teaching, including that white people are devils and that black people are superior to whites. Many people were astounded by the things Malcom was preaching on behalf of the Nation of Islam. Malcom X has been considered the second most influential leader after Elijah Muhammad, the leader of the group. He inspired the boxer Cassius Clay, also known as Muhammad Ali, to join the Nation of Islam, though like Malcom X, Muhammad Ali later left the group.
On March 8, 1964, Malcom announced his break from the Nation of Islam. He said that he was still a Muslim, but felt that the Nation of Islam had gone as far as it could because of its rigid religious teachings. Another reason he left was because he doubted Elijah Muhammad and became a favorite of the media, which upset the nation. After leaving the Nation of Islam, Malcom X founded Muslim Mosque Incorporation and the Organization of Afro-American Unity, and by that, converted to Sunni Islam.
After his split from the Nation of Islam, Malcom went on a holy pilgrimage to Mecca. He traveled the world and during this time clarified his own beliefs. He decided to look on people as individuals. He stopped looking on all whites as enemies. He returned to the United States and took a new name, Al-Hajj Malik al-Shabbaz. He went out publicly saying he would work with groups headed by whites as long as they were sincere about helping blacks. This position angered some of his former companions in the Nation of Islam. By 1965, the word on the street was that Malcom was a dead man. He himself felt the danger in the ominous atmosphere. His house in Queens was firebombed. He kept a loaded rifle in his home for self-defense. Despite the threats, Malcom scheduled a speech on the 21st of February 1965. It was during this speech that he was fatally shot. He was 39 years old. Although 3 men from the Nation of Islam were tried and convicted for the crime, there is still speculation about who was really behind the shooting. Malcolm was an enormously gifted man, a thinker, a man to whom the idea of revolution was not only possible but necessary. He believed that the ultimate goal of a black leader was to make revolution irresistible. And in Malcolm's own words, "You'll find very few people who feel like I feel and live long enough to get old." I'll tell you what I mean and why I say that. When I say by any means necessary, I mean it with all my heart, and my mind, and my soul. But a black man should give his life to be free, but he should also be willing to take the life of those who want to take his. It's reciprocal. And when you think like that, you don't live long.
By any means